Have you ever eaten a big bowl of oatmeal or a plate of pasta and then you felt full for like an hour and suddenly you're starving again? You are more hungry than before you even ate? Yeah, me too. And for the longest time I thought I was just broken, my metabolism was too fast, or I didn't have enough willpower. But here's the thing. It was not me, it was the carbs, or more specifically, it was how I was eating them. And once I figured out what was actually happening in my body, I found one ridiculously simple fix that changed everything for me. And it's a spice that you already have in your kitchen and it costs almost nothing and it's backed by actual science. So if you have ever felt like carbs are making you hungrier, stick around because this is going to make a lot of sense. Let me paint you a picture. A few years ago, my breakfast looked like this: a massive bowl of oats, dates, bananas on top, and I would eat it all, feel stuffed and think like, okay, I'm good until lunch. But by 10 a.m. I was starving already, and I'm talking about full-on hunger. It was really crazy. The kind where you can't focus on anything else and you're thinking about food constantly. And this wasn't just happening for breakfast, it was actually every single time I was eating carbs on their own. Like a huge bowl of rice, hungry an hour later. Pasta with tomato sauce, the same thing happened there. And I couldn't figure out why. I was eating enough calories, so what was going on? What I didn't understand back then: when you are eating carbs by themselves, especially fast digesting carbs like white rice, white bread, or anything with sugar really, then your blood sugar spikes, your body releases insulin to bring all of the stuff back down. But there's a big problem with that. Sometimes insulin does the job a little bit too well, and it drops your blood sugar so fast that you end up lower than where you have been starting. And when your blood sugar crashes like that, then your brain panics a little bit and you are basically starving because it gets all of these hunger signals. And that's why even though you just ate food, you feel like you need to eat again. And that is definitely not willpower, it is just simple biology. This is called reactive hypoglycemia. Your blood sugar literally drops below where it was before you were eating. And your body responds by cranking up ghrelin, and that's the hunger hormone. So you're not imagining it, you're actually hungrier after eating carbs alone than you were before eating. And this cycle is very exhausting and it makes you feel out of control and it makes losing weight feel impossible. Okay, so now we know the problem. But what is the solution to all of this? There's a few ways to actually fix this. You can add protein and fat to your carbs, which I talked about in my last video. But today I want to talk about something even simpler than that. Something you can add to your meals that actually slows down how fast your blood sugar rises in the first place. And that's cinnamon. A lot of you guys guessed it already in the last video in the comments. It's really funny. And this spice is probably sitting in your kitchen right now. And before you think this is some woohoo health hack or something like that, let me show you the science behind all of this. There was a couple of studies that show that cinnamon can reduce fasting blood sugar by up to 29%, and it improves insulin sensitivity, which means that your body doesn't have to release as much insulin to handle the carbs that you're eating. And it does this by enhancing something called GLUT4. This is the glucose transporters, basically, the little tiny trucks that carry sugar from your blood into your cells. And when those trucks work better, then your blood sugar stays more stable. And when your blood sugar stays stable, guys, you don't get these hunger crashes, like no hunger attacks and stuff. And most of these studies were using anywhere from 1 to 6 grams of cinnamon per day. And that is like half a teaspoon to a full teaspoon of cinnamon. And the effects were most noticeable after a few weeks of consistent use. But here's the thing, I noticed the difference way sooner than that. Within a few days, I wasn't getting those crazy hunger spikes after my oatmeal anymore, for example. And within a couple of weeks, my energy felt way more stable throughout the entire day. And here's exactly what I do. Every time I eat my oatmeal now for lunch, because I don't eat breakfast anymore, I add cinnamon and I don't measure it really. I just shake it on top there until it looks really good. And probably that's about a teaspoonful, maybe a little bit more. And that's about it. There's no fancy protocols, no supplements, it's just cinnamon. And it works really good. I used to be starving 2 hours later, but now that I'm using cinnamon, I'm good until dinner and I don't have crashes, no cravings, just like steady energy. Now here's the important part. Cinnamon works best when you're eating carbs that normally spike your blood sugar. So oatmeal would be perfect, rice would be great, but it will taste just really funny if it's not necessarily rice pudding. Smoothies with fruit would be a good example where you can add cinnamon. But if you're already eating a balanced meal with protein and fat like eggs and avocado, you probably don't need cinnamon. The protein and fat are already doing the job of slowing down your blood sugar, and cinnamon is just an extra tool for when you are eating really carb-heavy meals. And I'm not saying that cinnamon is magic or anything like that. If you eat this giant bowl of sugary cereal, then cinnamon is not going to fix this. But if you're eating whole food carbs, oats for example, or rice, potatoes, fruits, anything like that, and you want to make them work better for your body, then cinnamon can be a real game changer, and it's really cheap, it's easy, and it actually works. But here's the thing, it doesn't work all the time. Let's talk about when cinnamon works and when it doesn't really, because I don't want you to think this is a cure-all. First of all, cinnamon works best when you use it consistently. Again, consistency is the key. The studies that I mentioned before, they had people using cinnamon every day for a lot of weeks. So if you sprinkle it on your oatmeal once and expect miracles, then you're probably going to be disappointed here. But if you are making it a habit, like I did with my oats, then you will start to notice the difference. And second of all, cinnamon works best when you're eating whole foods, like oats, rice, potatoes, or fruits. And if you're eating this processed junk like donuts or candy, then cinnamon is not going to save you. It's not a free pass to eat garbage. And third, cinnamon works best when it's part of a bigger strategy. If you're also eating enough protein, staying active throughout the day, and manage your stress properly, then cinnamon is like the cherry on top, you can say, and it makes everything else work better. If you're eating massive portions, like a pound of rice for example, cinnamon is not going to fix that. You're still going to spike your blood sugar really hard, and if you're not eating enough protein or fat throughout the day, then cinnamon alone is not going to keep you full. It's a tool and not a magic bullet. But when you use it right, then it's a really good tool. So you're probably wondering, Dennis, what kind of cinnamon should I use? How much is too much? And can I just take it in a pill? Let me break it down for you. First, there are two main types of cinnamon, Ceylon and Cassia. And Ceylon is sometimes also called true cinnamon. It's a little bit milder and it has less coumarin. And that is a compound that can be really hard on your liver in high doses. And cassia is the cheap stuff that you find at most grocery stores. It's stronger tasting and has more of this substance coumarin. For everyday use, I'd recommend Ceylon if you can find it. I have used both already and they both work and taste very similar. Just don't go crazy with the cheap type of cinnamon. Stick to about a teaspoon a day maximum. And second, you don't have to put it in oatmeal. You can also add it to smoothies, for example, or maybe your coffee, to yogurt, even rice pudding, that tastes really good. Anywhere you are eating carbs, you can add cinnamon. Some people are even mixing it into their protein shakes, which is a cool idea. Some stuff just tastes a bit funny and it doesn't really match, so you can get creative with cinnamon and just test stuff out. And third, yes, you can take supplements with cinnamon if you really wanted to, but honestly I don't see a point in that because cinnamon anyways is so cheap and it tastes really good in my opinion, and you're getting the same benefits. Plus, when you use the actual spice, then you're more likely to stick with it because it becomes a part of your routine and it's not just another pill to remember. If you have been struggling with hunger after eating carbs, you are not broken. Your body is just responding to the blood sugar roller coaster that you are putting it on, and cinnamon is one of the easiest and cheapest ways to smooth out this ride. And add it to your oatmeal or maybe to your smoothies, whatever you are eating. Just make it a habit and use it daily and then see how you personally feel. Cinnamon is natural and it's been used in cooking for thousands of years. I personally went from starving an hour after food to actually making it to dinner without thinking about food. And that freed up so much mental energy to focus on other stuff that matters. Now I want to know what food makes you the hungriest after eating it. Is it oatmeal, pasta, rice, bread, something entirely different? Drop a comment below and let me know. And if you try this cinnamon trick, come back in a week and tell me what happened. I read every single comment. If this video helped you, then hit that like button. It helps more people find videos like this. And if you want more honest and practical advice on losing fat and building strength at home, subscribe to the channel. I post a new video every week. Thank you so much for watching and I see you in the next one.